Channeled introduction from Melchizedek, the Universal Logos. With the utmost of love do I welcome you to the pages of this book of wisdom revealed. The first glimpse of the cosmos I wish to give you is the knowledge of the advancement of planet Earth herself, which allows for the connection between you who dwell upon her soil and that of one such as myself, the Logos Universal, to join in holy communion, one with the other. This is a blessing for us both, for it means life is evolving as it should and each of you are stepping ever more fully into your divine heritage as co-creators with God. Welcome to these words, O ye children of the Most High, and rejoice that I and a vast array of cosmic beings can now come unto you. As with your ascension process, we may step down, descend our vibratory heights. From our vastness we can take familiar form within your mind's eye and speak unto you of great and glorious things and help to guide, ease and enlighten your pathway, your own pathway into the cosmos. It is thus with the utmost of love and wisdom revealed that I welcome you to the journey through the cosmos contained within these pages. Who I am in the vast reaches of the cosmos is in truth beyond comprehension, and yet more and more of my very self is able to be revealed. I am often called Father, Divine Father, and this in truth reveals a great and most esoteric aspect of my beingness. You and your world and indeed the many systems of worlds that are evolving within the universe I embody are of my seed and bear my unique imprint. Like the ideal father I stand in unconditional love of my children, taking unbounded joy in your growth and evolution and awaiting every opportunity to give forth the light of my wisdom. For many eons have I awaited the opportunity to feed you, my hungry ones, on the light, wisdom that I embody. Yet patiently I have waited, contacting only those few who had grown to a point where they could conceive me and always working within for greater limitations than I now am. I welcome you again into my presence, or rather into the greater awareness of my presence. Forever have we been and are one. I enfold you in the arms of love and light that upon reading the forthcoming pages you may feel safe and protected by the very light, wisdom revealed therein, and know that you can invoke me at any time to further your understanding of cosmic design. It has been taught and revealed that upon all planes of existence there are various offices held, or job positions, and more accurately stated, divine function and specific puzzle pieces. There is always a hierarchical nature that exists within every kingdom that leads from the confines of one kingdom into the freedom of the next, leading from realm to realm, plane to plane, dimension to dimension into and unto that which you call Godhead itself. To repeat, the time is now, when so many of you are stepping upward into your hierarchical positions, which enables many of us to reach downward into your world, or more accurately stated, for those of us from our cosmically expansive and awakened state to connect with those of you who are now expanding, now awakening. It is really the process of the more awakened, lighted, love, wisdom unfolded and all-inclusive aspects of the whole reaching to the less awakened part of the whole, for as unique and diverse as our cosmic puzzle pieces can be, the nature of God, of cosmos itself, is based on oneness and unity, and so I come to you as Father. It is my intent that you know me thus and thus take succor from my love, strength, light and wisdom revealed. Ask and it shall be given you, Matt. 7 verse 7. So I ask that you call upon me as Father and request of me the continuously unfolding of divine wisdom within you, for it is with the light of that wisdom that I seek to see you fed. The great paradox is that as within all areas of the greater cosmology, beings such as myself at once enfold you within our divine selves, as we and I are part and parcel of each and every one of you. Yet likewise do I, transcend you, having established ourselves in the vastness of the great whole to which you aspire. The subject of cosmic ascension is so vast that the mind of man reels, and this is not what we seek. The fact that this book was brought into physical manifestation is testament to that, for what is now desired is that your brain cells and nervous systems are expanded in such a manner that what you know, have become and have been awakened to in the higher realms may be accessed upon the dense physical and that which has hitherto been secret or incomprehensible may now be revealed. The fact that this book was brought into physical manifestation is testament to that, for what is now desired is that your brain cells and nervous systems are expanded in such a manner that what you know, have become and have been awakened to in the higher realms may be accessed upon the dense physical, and that which has hitherto been secret or incomprehensible may now be revealed. The best way to do this, in studying the material presented herein as well as in your private meditation, is to allow for the heart, mind, intuition, brain, word and the silence to function as one. It is in that space where these aspects are allowed to conjoin and blend that comprehension and realization of the wisdom word can best flourish. With this in mind, I ask for your attention upon another great matter. This subject embraces both the planetary world on which you dwell and the cosmic, universal realm from which I attempt to communicate. To many of you the masculine, feminine principles of life are a most delicate subject. To both me and the cosmic masters it is a fact of cosmic manifestation itself. Therefore there is a specific aspect of my work that I need you to ponder and know also as an aspect of yourself. As on earth the yin and yang, masculine and feminine, function as a whole, so it is with the universe. While at once abiding in total unity with me and yet retaining her own individuality, know that the Divine Mother aspect, the yin essence, is ever interwoven with me and my work, even as the Divine Mother aspect is part of each and every one of you in varying degrees. Beingness and substance, light in the form that light takes, could not be without the divine feminine principle. When I speak thus as a step-down aspect of the universal logos, know that words cannot but hint at a great and vast universal truth. And yet also can they be understood by following the axiom, as above so below. Each of you, my children, is diligently working to balance the feminine and masculine energies within you. Even so, I, in eons incomprehensible, have done this, and Divine Mother herself carries the mantle of balanced yin and yang, as do all who have achieved cosmic ascension. The fact remains that the truth of the puzzle piece traverses the universe, and she, who is Mother Divine, finds her point of balance more on the yin and embodies the feminine principle, even as it is her cosmic function to put that principle forth. I, balanced in myself, embody more of the yang principle, and it is my divine function to put that forth. We seek you to keep this in the fore of your awareness, for the Father I Am functions in unity with the Divine Mother, which is an important truth to ponder, although more will be said elsewhere on the subject. Take this truth into your heart, mind however, for when I speak of universal function it is my intention that you know how vital the point of interconnectiveness is, even upon universal levels, where naught but oneness abides. The ultimate paradox is that were you to call me, Melchizedek, Divine Father, Mother, that would also be truth. What I seek to impart is simply that on every level, that which is one and complete within itself is likewise interconnected with other aspects that are also complete. For those who wish to look at me through this paradigm, I embrace you as your father and mother, and this pleases me as well. See me then in the light you so choose, for in essence, what I am is light. Having said this, I shall move on by reminding you again that you are my children, and I will feed you well with the bread of light, which is another word for wisdom. In truth, those of you who have been inwardly awake have long known who you are and have long recognized one another, even though your outer mind was but dimly aware. Some who recognized me were there throughout your planetary history, who paid homage to who I am and to one another, and consciously and together did we traverse and expand upon wings of light into the realms of light. These people were known as the priests and priestesses, the hierophants, the disciples and initiates of the order of Melchizedek. And although they used not the term universal logos, and might have known me in my various guises, they knew the truth of the one and drank of the light, wisdom that I am, and have spoken and written the word of truth. Those of you in later times, now in the awakening times, have deeply traced your heritage, be it through the scattered and sparse written word, the later written revelations, or in the silence of meditation, and finally does the light begin to blaze within the heart, mind, soul, monad of those of you who know yourselves as Melchizedeks. So you are, my beloved children, who read these words and the words contained within this most rare and precious book, Melchizedek's. Let your hearts, minds, soul and monads come likewise ablaze as you eat and drink into your light selves the wondrous light contained in the pages herein. So shall your light quotient quickly grow. How could it be otherwise when the light of wisdom is that with which you are gaining sustenance and nourishment? Let this book thus nourish you. Let it be a portal from the finite into the infinite. Come ye forward with me, you Melchizedeks who are of my very self, and study the wisdom that has taken root upon the plane of matter and blossom with it and with me into the realms that are the source of wisdom itself. Light and wisdom are one, which melds with love in perfect balance. Come ye forth into that perfect blending and let your minds blaze into the hitherto uncharted realms of cosmic ascension. And in thus doing, remember, we are and ever have been one, Melchizedek. 1. What is cosmic ascension? The best way to understand cosmic ascension is to compare it with planetary ascension. Was it not Thoth, Hermes who stated in the Hermetic law, as within, so without, as above, so below? To understand all of creation, all one really has to do is to look at the atom. We will be applying the same principle here on the subject of ascension. The following chart is very similar to the cosmic map in my book Beyond Ascension, with a few more additions I have received since writing that book. Now, let us begin first with the understanding of initiations. The keys to understanding the planetary and cosmic ascension process are initiations, light quotient, the monad, the soul, the chakras and the bodies. The initiations. To achieve planetary ascension, one must complete the 7 levels of initiations. Planetary ascension begins when one takes the 6th initiation and is completed when one completes the 7th initiation. Liberation from the wheel of rebirth is not attained until one takes the beginning of the 7th initiation. It must be understood that ascension occurs when you receive the rod of initiation from Sanat Kumara, however it is also a process. The 6th initiation is considered the ascension initiation. However, again, it must be remembered that there are 7 sublevels between each initiation and those all must be completed before each major initiation is complete. There are some people who use the 12 initiation system. Here again I state that the 12 initiations in Brian Grattan's system are exactly the same as the complete 7 levels of initiations. That system is using the concept of 3 sublevels for initiations 6 and 7. Either system can be used. I personally have been guided by Dwal Kul, Lord Maitreya and Melchizedek to use the 7 levels of initiations with the 7 sublevels system between each initiation. There is also a major misconception among some lightworkers in believing that they can take initiations beyond the 7th initiation or 12th initiation in the other system, and I am here to tell you that this is illusion. I mean no judgment in saying this, but it just isn't true, and this is one thing about which I am absolutely positive. One can still continue to grow spiritually after the 7 levels of initiation, build the light quotient, anchor dimensions, anchor chakras, anchor bodies. However, one cannot take any more initiations beyond this while still retaining a physical vehicle. The belief otherwise is a manifestation of the negative ego, which we all, and I mean all, need to constantly be vigilant against. Cosmic initiations. As stated, 7 levels of initiation complete our planetary ascension. In order to complete our cosmic ascension, we must complete 352 levels of initiation to return to the Godhead, Source, Father Mother God. Each initiation is an expansion of consciousness and increase in frequency and light. There is no skipping steps. We must serve and prove ourselves worthy at each level: planetary, solar, galactic, universal, multi-universal, cosmic. Each level must be stabilized and raised before one is allowed to enter the next level. When I refer here to the multi-universal level, I am referring to the 43 Christed universes that make up the source of our cosmic day. One could break the ascension process down into these 6 smaller ascension divisions. First planetary ascension, then solar ascension, then galactic ascension, then universal ascension, then multi-universal ascension, then cosmic ascension. For the purposes of this book, however, I am just breaking the ascension process into planetary versus cosmic ascension, which embodies the final 5 in that list. These divisions are an extremely helpful conceptual tool. This is how Melchizedek, the universal logos, has broken down the process for our core group. On the right side of the cosmic map you can see the planetary initiations on the bottom, and as you move up on the map, you can see the cosmic initiations moving up to the number 352. Planetary light quotient ascension process. The next key principle we will focus on in understanding planetary versus cosmic ascension is the issue of light quotient. This is one of the key principles for both processes. To achieve planetary ascension, one must stabilize her light quotient between 80 to 83%, to take the beginning of the 6th initiation. At the 7th initiation one must stabilize the 92% light quotient level. To complete the 7 levels of initiation one must stabilize the 99% light quotient level. The term stabilization is extremely important here. Many people, by themselves or more often in a group setting, have on occasion achieved a very high-level meditation or light experience. The problem is that they are not able to hold the light. It quickly dissipates, and more often than not, they are not able to get back to that level for a long time. This brings up a very important question. How does one stabilize the light quotient? Most people fluctuate between as much as 3 or 4 light quotient points at any given time. This becomes even more complicated because they even fluctuate at different levels within their 5-body system. Their mental body might be at 90%, their emotional body at 84%, their physical body at 82%, their etheric body at 86%, and their spiritual body at 92%. This is why to achieve true self-realization one must become a master on all levels. I usually break this down to the spiritual, the psychological and the physical. The key question still being, how does one stabilize the light quotient? This is a complicated and multifaceted issue. The first and most important key is maintaining mastery over your mental, emotional, etheric and physical bodies, and most of all, your negative ego. Many lightworkers are great meditators. However, they are very weak on the emotional or psychological level, which drains light quotient. Learning to develop even-mindedness and being the cause of your reality at all times and not a victim is extremely helpful in this process. A combination of eating well, physical exercise, fresh air and sunshine is helpful in maintaining light quotient levels. Learning to live a life as free of negative ego thinking as possible is a super key. Spiritualizing your emotional body, so your emotions are programmed by your soul and monad rather than the negative ego, is another correlating key. Maintaining your focus on the mighty I Am presence at all times and not letting your attention follow the course of the lower self is another key. Spiritualizing your sexual habits and practicing the course of moderation is also a key. Another important focus is positive thinking, optimism, keeping the mind thinking about, affirming and chanting the nature of God, in other words, not being idle, for an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Also important is daily meditation practice. Making your life a meditation and doing light quotient building all day long, as I have suggested in my Beyond Ascension book, is another key. Meditating with other like-minded souls, practicing love at all times and dedicating your life to the service of humanity are also keys. If possible, never allow your consciousness to leave attunement with your soul and monad. This is practicing what Dwal Kul calls, keeping your mind steady in the light. Other keys include, remaining in joy and inner peace at all times or as much as possible, being unceasing in your quest for planetary and cosmic ascension, and not wasting a single moment or piece of energy. Be balanced in all things and take time to have fun and enjoyment also. These are a number of ideas I personally have found useful in learning to stabilize my own light quotient. I return now to my original theme, involving the need to ultimately stabilize the 99% light quotient. This correlates with completing the 7 levels of initiation, the anchoring and activation of one's 50 chakras and the anchoring and activation of the first 9 bodies, all of which I will speak in depth about as the chapter progresses. The Cosmic Light Quotient Ascension Process. It must be understood that the 99% light quotient level in the planetary system is nothing more than 10% light quotient on the cosmic light quotient scale. Remember what Vimas said about planetary ascension being only 1/10 up a 10-inch ruler. Well, there it is. As of writing this chapter, our core group has just about stabilized our 99% light quotient level. We have anchored and activated our 50 chakras, anchored and activated up through our 9th body, and of course completed our 7 levels of initiation. In doing this, we are just now in the process of beginning our cosmic ascension process, which is why the writing of this book is very meaningful and pertinent to me. The cosmic ascension process is much slower because of the incredible vastness of the infinite universe and the incredible increase in voltage we are dealing with on the cosmic levels. Our core group is now in the process of switching over to the cosmic light quotient scale. We are now moving from 99% to 10%, rather humbling, isn't it? The 2 highest spiritual beings on the planet are Lord Maitreya and Sai Baba. Lord Maitreya is a galactic avatar and Sai Baba is a universal avatar. Lord Maitreya, who is the teacher of Jesus, Kuthumi, Saint Germain and all the ascended masters we revere, anchors 10% of the full cosmic Christ energy in the infinite universe on this planet. Cosmic Christ energy is a little above in frequency that which might be considered pure light quotient. Sai Baba anchors on this planet 31% of the cosmic Christ energy. Look how far even they have to go, and these are by far the most advanced beings on the planet. To achieve cosmic ascension, one must build her light quotient up to the 100% level on the cosmic light quotient scale. When we first asked the masters about this, they seemed to indicate that there was some kind of limit for us. However, in more recent times they have told us that there was not a limit and we could raise our light quotient as high as we are able during this incarnation. This was interesting to me, for I knew we had to stop our initiations at the completion of our 7th. However, light quotient raising has no limits. Why has cosmic ascension not been focused on in the past? Cosmic ascension has not been focused on in the past because, for one, humanity was not at the level to even complete planetary ascension, let alone cosmic ascension. Look at the most revered masters. Dwal Kul completed his ascension in this century, as did Jesus. El Morya completed his in the 1800s, as did Kuthumi, and Saint Germain did so in the 1700s or 1800s. Even the most advanced beings we know of have done it rather recently themselves. The second reason is that most people who have ascended in the past have left their bodies shortly after taking the 6th initiation. This is what Dwal Kul, Jesus, Kuthumi and El Morya did. Saint Germain was an exception. Even Sai Baba left his body, however, he is unique in that he is doing a triple avatar incarnation. The point here is that this push for lightworkers to remain on the earth after taking their ascension is a new push by the spiritual hierarchy. In the past it was just the opposite, no one remained on the earth to even consider such an option. The third reason why cosmic ascension has not been done before is because it was not really possible until the harmonic convergence, when the Earth moved into the 4th dimension. It was also at this time that the galactic core opened up to the Earth for the first time. The year 1988 was the first time the Mahatma, or Avatar of Synthesis, first became physically anchored on the Earth. Part of this is tied up with the ending of the Piscean Age and the beginning of the Aquarian Age. This is also related to the window of mass ascension that we have entered from 1995 to the year 2000, which has been spoken of by Vimus. Other factors include the fact that the Earth has moved into the fifth dimension as of December 12, 1994, and the incredible acceleration of lightworkers around the planet. Other reasons are the end of communism in the Soviet Union and East Germany, the descent of Sai Baba and Lord Maitreya on Earth and the externalization of the spiritual hierarchy, the greater involvement of Buddha again in Earth's evolution, the much greater involvement of Melchizedek, the universal logos, and the reawakening of the order of Melchizedek on Earth again. The greater involvement of the archangels and angels has also furthered the process. The fact that we are now in the process of experiencing for the first time on Earth the in-breath and out-breath of Brahma, as I spoke of in my first book, The Complete Ascension Manual, is another factor. The fact that Melchizedek closed down 10 universes in 1988 as the source of our cosmic day, which now leaves our cosmic day with 43 Christed universes, had an extraordinary impact as well. For a more detailed account of this, read Beyond Ascension. Another driving force has been the dissemination of certain revelatory material on Earth this century, including the Alice Bailey books, Tibetan Foundation material, Theosophical movements, A Course in Miracles, The Keys of Enoch, Life and Teaching of the Masters of the Far East, and the IAM discourses. The enormous influx of channeled material includes the works of Edgar Cayce and Erland Cheney, Vimus's books through Janet McClure, the messages of Yogananda and Sai Baba, and extraterrestrial involvement and channelings. All of these and much more have facilitated an enormous expansion and acceleration in consciousness. In more recent times, another factor is the newly developing Ascension movement, which is gaining momentum with each passing day. Except for these most recent times, there were very few masters who were achieving these levels of initiation, and they were doing it in very small groups living in the Himalayas. The evolutionary process is now completely different. That which took a whole lifetime or 14 years is now taking 1 year. The truth is, it is much easier now than it was in the past. This is also why the advanced abilities that we have correlated with achieving our ascension are much slower to develop. Masters in the past had 25 years or a whole lifetime to process one initiation and develop the corresponding abilities. By the grace of God, I actually went through the major initiations in a year and a half. This is one of the great blessings of the times we live in, and also one of its dangers. The danger being that the lightworkers are spiritually evolving as a whole much quicker than they are in terms of their emotional and/or psychological makeup. Initiations have more to do with spiritual evolution than they do with psychological evolution, which came as a total shock to me. For this reason, you will find people who are taking their higher levels of initiation, but are not necessarily clear of their negative ego or in control of their emotional body. One can complete her 7 levels of initiation and still be rather unclear in some aspects of personality. We can all be very grateful that it is much easier than it was in the past. Melchizedek has told me, however, that the ring pass not on this issue as cosmic ascension. People will not be allowed to move into the solar, galactic and universal levels without getting greater control over the negative ego and the emotional and psychological self. For the first time in the history of the Earth, which is now over 3.1 billion years, we have the opportunity to actually begin working on our cosmic ascension while still physically incarnate. The soul and the monad in the ascension process. Planetary ascension can be understood most clearly by recognizing that the ascension can be defined as the merger of the monad, mighty I Am presence, the soul, higher self, or oversoul, and the personality, soul extension, or human being on Earth. When these 3 facets of your being merge and become one, you have ascended. You have become one with the mighty I Am presence, or monad, on Earth, one with the Atma, or eternal self. At the beginning of the 6th initiation you have accomplished this at the 83% level. At the completion of the 7th initiation you have accomplished this at 99%. The 3rd initiation is the merger with the soul. The 5th initiation begins the process of merger with the monad, or I Am presence. I use both terms here to synthesize the teachings of Saint Germain, Kuthumi and Dwal Kul. The cosmic monad and the cosmic soul. Let us now extrapolate to the cosmic level. As within, so without, as above, so below. Cosmic ascension is the merger with the cosmic monad or the cosmic mighty I Am presence. Planetary ascension is movement into the 7th, or logoic, plane of consciousness on the cosmic physical plane. Cosmic ascension is full merger and completion of the cosmic logoic, or cosmic 7th plane. We are speaking here of the difference between the planetary logoic plane and the cosmic logoic plane. Seven planetary planes, 7 cosmic planes. Physical, astral, mental, buddhic, atmic, monadic, logoic, cosmic, physical, cosmic, astral, cosmic, mental, cosmic, buddhic. Cosmic, atmic, cosmic, monadic, cosmic, logoic, logoic, cosmic, logoic. The completion of the 7 planetary planes is the completion of just the first cosmic plane called the cosmic physical plane. None of us have even entered the other 6 cosmic planes. The choice of which of the 7 paths to higher evolution you choose will determine which of these cosmic planes you will work in on your path of cosmic evolution. The 7 paths of evolution. Path of earth service. Path of magnetic work. Path of training to become a planetary logos, path to Sirius. Ray path, path on which our solar logos is found, path of absolute sonship. For more information on these paths, read Beyond Ascension and the Complete Ascension Manual. In planetary ascension, the soul, or higher self, is the intermediary between the personality on earth and the monad, or mighty I Am presence. In cosmic ascension, the Mahatma might be considered the intermediary between God and his evolving sons and daughters of God. The Mahatma, or avatar of synthesis, is a group consciousness being that embodies all 352 levels of the Godhead. Planetary and Cosmic Trinity. Planetary Ascension, Cosmic Ascension. Monad. Soul, Personality, God and Cosmic Monad. Mahatma, Planetary Ascended Master. The Mahatma, being the intermediary for God, could also be broken down even further. Speaking for myself personally, a second intermediary is my cosmic further. Speaking for myself personally, a second intermediary is my cosmic ascension lineage. In my case it is Dwal Kul on the planetary and solar level, Lord Maitreya on the galactic level and Melchizedek on the universal level. Melchizedek is the universal logos and is not only the being who is the president of the entire universe but also the president of the 43 universes for our cosmic day. So he is the head of the multi-universal level for our cosmic day. To realize the vastness of God, there are infinite numbers of sources for cosmic days throughout God's infinite universe. In terms of this discussion of ascension lineage, I am not 100% positive about this. However, I think most lightworkers on Earth will share Lord Maitreya and Melchizedek with me, given the fact that Lord Maitreya is the head of the entire spiritual hierarchy, runs 7 planetary ashrams and is the teacher for all 7 Chohans. Melchizedek, on even a higher level, is the teacher for all lightworkers for not only our planet but our entire universe. Melchizedek is the Grand Master of all masters for our universe. There are some people who believe that there is only an order of Melchizedek and not a person who runs that order. This is not true. I know this for a fact, for I have had literally hundreds of conversations with him and he is very much alive and well. I consider my personal contact with him as the single greatest blessing of my entire lifetime and probably all my lifetimes. What our core group and I have learned from him has been absolutely mind-boggling. In his cosmic ascension process he is between the 5th and 7th cosmic plane. He is very close now to completing his cosmic ascension and the other 9/10 of the ruler, which we have not even begun. Cosmic monads. My understanding at this time is that there are 12 cosmic monads that have a relationship to the Cosmic Council of 12 at the 352D level of the Godhead. Ultimately, we each come from one of these cosmic monads. I have outlined this on the cosmic map on the top of the page in the center. So just as each of us on the planetary level has a ray that makes up our planetary monad, we each also stem from a ray that makes up our cosmic monad. God and the cosmic ascension is the full merger with the cosmic monad and 352 levels of the Mahatma and the evolving ascended masters. Planetary chakras. One of the revolutionary pieces of information that has been revealed to us, which I don't think has ever been revealed in written form before, is the understanding that we don't have 7 chakras, or 12 chakras, but in actuality, 50 major chakras. I am not talking about minor chakras here. The 7-chakra system was appropriate when Earth was still in the 3rd dimension. When Earth moved into the 4th dimension, the 12-chakra system became very prevalent. As the Earth and the advanced initiates on the planet moved toward the 5th dimension, which is Ascension, Vimas channeled that we had 22 chakras, not 12. There are 7 in the 3rd dimension, 7 more in the 4th dimension and an additional 7 in the 5th dimension. Do you see that there is a chakra grid of 7 for each dimension? As the disciples and initiates on Earth evolve, the chakras begin to descend. At whatever level you are, you want to bring in the next higher chakra grid from above you. The 12-chakra system is nothing more than a 4th dimensional system. When you ascend, your 16th chakra becomes anchored into the crown. The 15th chakra becomes anchored in your 3rd eye, your 14th chakra in your throat, and so on, moving downward. This is at the beginning of the 6th initiation. Once you take your 6th initiation, you want to begin anchoring in the full 5th dimensional chakra grid. When that has been anchored and activated, then you want to bring in the 6th dimensional chakra grid, that is chakras 23 through 29. When that is fully installed and activated, then you bring in the 7th dimensional chakra grid, chakras 30 through 36. Then comes the 8th dimensional chakra grid, chakras 37 through 43. Next is the 9th dimensional grid of chakras 44 through 50. The 9th dimension is the full completion of the planetary chakra system. In truth, this is far beyond our normal understanding of the ascension process, for ascension is considered the 5th dimension. By anchoring and activating these higher chakra grids and anchoring chakra 50 in the crown, chakra 49 in the 3rd eye and chakra 48 in the throat, you are tapping into the 9th dimension. Melchizedek has told us that there are 49 dimensions to be anchored to achieve cosmic ascension. The 6th initiation is the movement into the 5th dimension. The 7th initiation is movement into the 6th dimension. Even dimension, the 7th initiation is movement into the 6th dimension. Even though one has to stop taking initiations at 7 while still incarnated, one can continue to anchor and activate chakra grids, which gives humanity access to and grounding of dimensional frequencies. What I present here is an incredible key to speeding up your spiritual evolution. For more information, read Beyond Ascension, Soul Psychology and the Complete Ascension Manual. More will also be given later in this book. As of writing this chapter, our core group has installed and activated chakra 50 in our crown, which leads me to the next lesson in understanding cosmic ascension. Installation, activation and actualization. These 3 words play a crucial part in understanding both planetary and cosmic ascension. The first step in the process of anchoring the higher dimensional chakra grids is requesting to your own mighty I Am presence and the masters you work with to install the higher chakras. The second step, once they are installed by the masters and woven into your being, is to then work to activate them. It is working over time with the masters, love, service and meditation that achieves this goal. The final step, which is the final and hardest step, is to actualize the chakras. This is the key to understanding why many who have achieved their ascension have not developed their advanced ascension master abilities. I will use myself as an example. I have currently installed and activated my 50 chakras, 7 levels of initiation, 99% light quotient and 12 strands of DNA, merged with monad and soul at 99% level and installed and activated up through my 9th body. So I have installed and activated across the board up through the 9th level, except for initiations, which must stop at completion of the 7th. Even though I have done this, I still haven't developed the ability to teleport, dematerialize or materialize things, turn water into wine or raise the dead. These more advanced ascended master abilities come with this final 3rd stage, which is the actualization of these advanced chakra grids. I have completed 2/3 of the process and am currently working on this final stage of actualizing my advanced ascended master abilities while working on my cosmic ascension process. Both are being worked on simultaneously. Cosmic installations and activations can be continued while actualization of the full 50 chakras is taking place. The added cosmic installations and activations will add to and help the full cosmic actualization process in terms of advanced ascended master abilities. Some of these abilities are not required, such as teleportation or physical immortality. Sai Baba doesn't choose to manifest physical immortality, however he could if he wanted to use his energy that way. Everything is just energy and each person has to choose how she wants to use his energy given his mission. Some might choose to live on light instead of physical food. However, some will choose to eat food and have no desire, purpose or inclination to demonstrate this lesson. It is all how you want to use your energy. This now brings us to the understanding of the cosmic chakras. Cosmic chakras and the ascension process. The newest information that Melchizedek has shared with us is that there are actually 330 chakras that must be anchored and activated to take one back to the Godhead. The 50 chakras are again what might be considered the planetary chakras. What we have been told, which is absolutely fascinating, is that there are also 50 solar chakras, 50 galactic chakras, 50 universal chakras, 50 multi-universal chakras, 80 cosmic chakras. If you add all of these chakras up, you get 330. The extraordinary thing is that Melchizedek has told us that it is potentially possible to install and activate these cosmic chakras. What we have been told is that the installation and activation of the 10th, 11th and 12th bodies, which are the solar, galactic and universal bodies, correlate with the installation and activation of the first 200 chakras. Melchizedek said that this cannot even be considered until one has completed the 7 levels of initiation, achieved the 99% light quotient, anchored and activated the 50 chakras, fully merged with her planetary soul and monad, installed and activated the first 9 bodies and anchored the 12 strands of DNA into her etheric body. Therefore, don't even consider asking for these things until this level is accomplished. Every person who is now reading this book is fully capable of achieving these things in this embodiment if she applies the lessons given in my books and others like them in a focused, systematic, disciplined and 100% committed fashion, dedicating his life solely to unconditional love, egolessness and service of humanity. Again, I am here to say that the extraordinary times we live in and the fact that we are in a 5-year window for mass ascension makes this uniquely possible. So take advantage of it and be about the Father's business. Our core group has just recently accomplished these goals and demonstrated the willingness and abilities to dedicate our lives solely to planetary world service, which is a key. We have been told by Melchizedek, by the grace of God, that it will take, if all goes according to plans, 5 years for us to anchor and activate our solar, galactic and universal bodies and install and activate our 200 chakras. I share this with you not to be egotistical but to demonstrate that it is potentially possible. Certain cosmic dispensations are now being given that have never been given to the earth before. I will emphasize here that to be allowed to anchor cosmic energies such as these, one must be of the absolute highest focus, commitment, self-mastery, self-discipline, integrity, egolessness, unconditional love and commitment to service. I also warn you that when much is given by the masters, much is expected. I warn you now, if you are not willing to give yourself totally, and I mean totally, to God, service and your spiritual path, don't even consider invoking such energies. This book and teachings are for the most advanced initiates and spiritual leadership group on this planet. It is meant to be read by all lightworkers to give them a cosmic map for future potentialities, and to inspire them to take the hero's journey, at a level of focus and commitment that they might not have considered yet. I share this information with you to tell you these things can be done and to tell you that I am not exceptional, and I really mean this. I very much consider myself an average Joe. I like to go to movies, have my favorite TV shows, like to converse with your everyday person I meet in the market or bank, live in Los Angeles and enjoy a good sports event on television occasionally. If you would meet me, I would be like your neighbor next door. I share my process with you to tell you if I can do it, anybody can. As God is my witness, I totally mean this. There is one thing, however, that I feel is exceptional about myself, and that is the level of intense focus, commitment and self-discipline that I am willing to manifest in my quest of service to humanity, of God realization and of cosmic ascension. Dwal Cool spoke of this in the Alice Bailey books, that sometimes the average man goes much further than the genius because of his greater commitment. I am very much the average man. My commitment every moment of my life is complete and has been for a very long time. That is how I have reached the point where I am. I share this with you to show that it doesn't take extraordinary psychic powers to achieve these things, or being the best channel on the planet, or special past lives, or really any advanced abilities at all. It just takes one thing, which was summed up by the Master Jesus with the following statements: love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Deut. 6-5, and love thy neighbor as thyself. Yogananda said it all when he said, if you truly want God, you must want him like a drowning man wants air. If you love and are willing to strive for God and service of humanity that much, you will find him. It is all up to your commitment. Do you want God, or do you want your ego, materialistic path? If you truly want God, then choose him 100% and never look back. Apply the principles, meditations and instructions in these books and you can achieve your planetary ascension in an enormously short period of time, and can then begin your cosmic ascension process. I personally am not a procrastinator. My motto is, why put off what I can get done now? This path is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who are really ready to claim their personal power 100% in the service of love of humanity, God and the Masters. Take advantage of these extraordinary times we live in. You will never have a better opportunity than you have right now. In review, cosmic ascension is the anchoring, activation and actualization of our 330th chakra in our crown. This can be seen on my newly revised Cosmic Map Diagram, Chapter 1. Can you imagine what it would be like to anchor and activate your 200th chakra in your crown, and to install and activate your solar, galactic and universal bodies? If we can potentially do it in 5 years after completing our planetary ascension, so can you, even if it took 10 years. This is nothing compared to the magnitude of energies we are talking about. Melchizedek told us that the key to teleporting was the anchoring and activation of our universal body, which is the 12th body and 200th chakra activation. Would you really rather invest your time and energy on over-identification with matter, or experience these sublime energies of God on Earth? It must also be stated here that even though we are allowed to install and activate these cosmic chakras and cosmic bodies, in truth we are only tapping into an aspect of their full power. Our initiation level limits the amount we can access. Sai Baba, who is a universal avatar and who is operating out of these higher levels of initiation, is an example of what can be done on Earth when actualization and higher initiations have been attained. Even though our installation and activation won't be at the level of a Sai Baba, I am sure it will be amazing, and this is available to every person reading this book, for God loves all his sons and daughters equally. The question is not really what God will allow you, but rather what you will allow yourself in terms of how you spend your time and energy this lifetime. The completion of planetary ascension is much like going to earthly school or earthly college. There are certain classes and units that must be achieved. The same is true of spiritual school. There are a certain number of light quotient units to be achieved, chakras and bodies to install and activate, and initiations to pass. These books give you simple, easy to understand and fun tools for easily accomplishing these goals. In truth, it is all very systematic. The problem we have had in the past is that we haven't had the tools and simple understanding of the process. Now we do, so it really is not that hard to achieve. In my earlier life, I never thought in a million years that I would achieve my ascension. I thought it was some mystical, insurmountable, unattainable goal. At 42 years old, I have not only achieved it but am helping others find the path to cosmic ascension. In my books I have shared with you exactly how I did it. I have literally given you everything. I went through 3 major initiations in a year and a half. Apply what I did and you can potentially achieve the same thing. I have studied pretty much everything, and I honestly don't believe there is a faster path on the planet than working with the masters and with this level of ascension work. There is one more reason I have chosen to share some of my personal experiences in this planetary and cosmic ascension process. This last reason is to give you, my reader, a timetable and perspective on how long it will take to achieve these things. In my personal opinion, this is of invaluable importance. For example, if I tell you now that you can complete your major initiations in approximately 1 or 2 years, that is of incredible value. I know it would be for me. It gives me a perspective on the whole process and a short-term goal to strive for. The Masters have, by the grace of God, given us timetables to work with. Now the fact is that usually we have cut their predictions in half, and of course they are pleased with this. Just the fact that they gave us these timetables was incredibly helpful. It was also inspiring and hopeful to know that it was within our potential goals in such a relatively short period of time. Now I realize not everyone has direct access to the Masters. So as I am writing, I am attempting to be an intermediary and am speaking in general terms of that which is available to the general high-level initiate. When I tell you that we have been told it would take 5 to 10 years to integrate the solar, galactic and universal levels, I share this to give you a goal to strive toward. Again, realize Masters, in the not-too-distant past, took whole lifetimes to achieve one initiation. In a sense, I am dangling a carrot before you to motivate you and inspire you to be about the mother's business. I think you can appreciate the great value of having this kind of timetable and see that what has been made available to our core group is available to you also. Sometimes I have debated within myself whether to put my personal experiences in the book because I didn't want it to sound like I was tooting my own horn. But I think it is helpful to know that someone is actually doing these things and not just theoretically talking about abstruse esoteric concepts. These concepts I speak of are living, breathing experiences in our lives. I also want to explain here how the number of 330 cosmic chakras was derived. When we first asked Melchizedek about this, out of the blue he said 300 chakras to take one to the top of creation. He was speaking in basic, general terms. That statement turned out to be more accurate than I first thought. When I went for my ascension walk, one day, it came to me, probably from Melchizedek, that this could be exactly figured by just multiplying the 7 chakras that make up each dimensional grid by the 49 dimensions. If you multiply 49 by 7, you get the number 344. One must take into account, however, that the chakras begin in the 3rd dimension, not in the first two dimensions. To get the exact number of chakras, one then has to subtract 14 from 344, which equals 330. I asked Melchizedek if I was accurate in following this line of thought. He said I was, and that his first figure was a generalized figure that was amazingly accurate, for he could have said any number in the universe and I would have accepted it. His guidance got a double confirmation by working out the mathematics of the rest of the cosmology we had previously been given. We have now anchored and activated 9-dimensional grids. We have 40 more to install, activate and actualize to return to the Godhead. The thing that I like about this process now is that I am starting to get the hang of how it works and what I need to do, which makes it much quicker. I see now that I will be using the same principles I used to achieve my planetary ascension to achieve my cosmic ascension, even when I leave this physical vehicle, or transfigure it. One other interesting thing I discussed with Melchizedek is how light quotient levels correlate with the solar, galactic and universal completion. He wouldn't give me exact information today when I asked him. It is interesting how these things work. Sometimes information comes through at certain times and not at others. I know a lot of times the masters don't give us information until we are ready to utilize it. I intuitively suggested to Melchizedek that planetary completion was at 10% on the cosmic light quotient scale. Solar completion was at the 30% level, universal completion around the 40% cosmic light quotient scale and multi-universal at around 60%. I asked Melchizedek if I was on the right track with these figures and he said I was and that he would give us more detailed figures at a later time. The one point that Melchizedek did say, which I hadn't taken into consideration, was the fact that our solar installation and activation would be a different light quotient than Sai Baba's solar figure would be. Remember, we as 7th degree initiates are only accessing a small portion of these levels, whereas Sai Baba being an avatar, God realized at birth and coming in at the universal level, would have different solar, galactic and universal completion numbers. The other thing that it is important to realize here is that all this extra anchoring and activation work we are doing beyond the 7 levels of initiation will make the passing through future initiations much easier. Even though we are not taking the initiations, it is like we are completing a lot of the homework in advance. It is like being in high school but taking college courses that will apply to your college credits, extra credit, you might say. The extra voltage of energy that is gained immensely adds to the power, radiation and magnetism of the world service work one does. Of all the factors I have mentioned in this chapter, passing the initiations is the most important. If you don't know your level of initiation and light quotient, or chakra anchoring level, and you would like to find out, contact me and I will help you find it out. If you also have not had your implants removed, I will help you get directed to the right people. Planetary bodies and the ascension process. To complete planetary ascension, one must anchor and activate the first 9 bodies of the 12-body system. These 9 bodies are described by the Ascended Master Dwal Kul through Alice Bailey in the Rays and the initiations as follows. Plane bodies initiations quality. Material plane physical. Body first initiation instinct. Astral plane astral body second. Initiation desire, feeling. Mental plane mental body third. Initiation concrete mind. Buddhic plane Buddhic. Body fourth initiation intuition plane body. Atmic plane Atma body fifth initiation spiritual will. Monadic plane. Monadic. Body sixth initiation divine intelligence. Logoic plane Logoic body seventh initiation purity, divine grace. As you move upward in the initiation process, you keep moving into a higher dimension at each initiation and operate out of a higher body. Upon taking the 7th initiation, you are operating out of the logoic body and have just entered the logoic plane as your stabilization point, so to speak. This is the continuing process of spiritual evolution. One keeps moving into initiations, bodies, planes and/or dimensions and chakras. There are again 7 sublevels between each initiation. These sublevels could also be correlated with the 7 individual chakras in each chakra grid. For example, the first chakra in each grid could be correlated with the first sublevel of the particular initiation you are working on. As each individual chakra of that grid moves downward into your crown, you are in a sense going up another sublevel in your initiation process. In terms of light quotient, one could say that at each sublevel, or chakra, is processed 1/7 of the light needed to complete that initiation. I will also add here that there are 2 other bodies that need to be considered in the processing of the first 7 levels of initiation before we actually get to the 8th and 9th body. The first is the etheric body, which is connected to the physical body and is of course the divine blueprint for the physical body. It is connected to the first initiation and the material plane, and the quality it embodies is vital force. The one other body to be considered in this discussion is a second body connected to what might be called the higher mental plane. The lower mental plane is the concrete mind. This is your basic intellectual type person. On the higher aspect of the mental plane, however, is the soul body, which Dwal Kul has also called the causal body. It is where all one's good karma is stored from, has also called the causal body. It is where all one's good karma is stored from all his/her past lives and this life. It is the body that is burned up at the 4th initiation as the initiate begins to work directly with the monad and mighty I Am presence, rather than just the soul or higher self. The quality of energy of the soul body is abstract mind. This is the quality used by your psychologist and metaphysician. As you can see, each body is also connected to a quality or a particular characteristic. As you move up the initiation process, you inhabit higher high-level bodies and hence more evolved characteristics and qualities. You can see this progression in a child growing up. As an infant, the child is just operating out of instinct and the flow of vital force, with no conscious directorship by the infant. As the child grows, it begins to focus more out of the desire, or emotional body. In high school or thereabouts, the mental body comes into play. Hopefully then the abstract mind grows and then intuition and spiritual will. One can also see how some people stay stuck or over-identify with certain bodies and their corresponding characteristics and qualities. The ideal is being balanced, of course. Once you have completed the 7 levels of initiations, you are operating now out of the logoic body on Earth. Then there are 2 more transitionary bodies that are still considered planetary bodies but become more transpersonal in nature. They are planetary collective bodies. These 8th and 9th bodies are the group soul body and the group monadic body. These 2 bodies are still connected to the 7th initiation as well as the 8th and 9th dimensions. They have a connection with the 8th and 9th dimensional chakra grids, or chakras 37 through 50. They embody a quality of group consciousness. These bodies are no longer dealing with your individual soul, or individual monad, but rather with the same principles on a planetary group level. The 8th body integration has to do with merging in consciousness with all higher selves, oversouls, or souls, whatever you prefer, on the entire planetary level. The group monadic level is the exact same thing, but 1 level up. This is the merging in consciousness with all monads or planetary mighty I Am presences. We have moved here from individual focus of our own bodies to humanity's collective bodies that are connected to this planet. As in the case with the chakras, these bodies need to be installed, activated, and as in the case with the chakras, these bodies need to be installed, activated and actualized. At the time of writing this section, our core group has installed and activated up through this level, and in the past couple months has begun working on the 10th, 11th and 12th bodies, which begins our discussion now of the cosmic bodies and cosmic ascension. The cosmic bodies and cosmic ascension. The first 3 bodies I would like to consider in this discussion are the 10th, 11th and 12th bodies, which are the solar, galactic and universal bodies. These bodies, as can be seen from their names, are the first time we are now officially leaving the planetary ascension process and beginning the solar, galactic and universal ascension process, or collectively called the cosmic ascension process. This is, of course, quite an exciting step. These bodies, as do all of the bodies on a planetary and cosmic level, need to be installed, activated and actualized. At the Wesak Festival in May 1995, our core group received a great blessing from His Holiness, Lord Sai Baba, who installed all 3 bodies at that time. This is what we had asked for, and this special dispensation was granted to us. Since that time I have had my Sherlock Holmes hat on and have been doing my research trying to figure out how this process works, since there is no written material on Earth really guiding the cosmic ascension process. The masters tell me that is my job, and that is why I am writing this book. As I mentioned earlier, the masters can be kind of funny at times about giving out this kind of cosmic knowledge, and sometimes you have to catch them at the right moment. You have probably heard the statement, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I will add to this proverb, when the student is ready, the information appears. If they don't think we are ready, they often don't give the information. You, my beloved readers, will be happy to know I am very persevering, and like Jacob in the Bible, I will not let go until they bless us. In taking this stance and not being shy, I have learned a great many things. The first of these is that the process of installing and activating these 3 bodies is no small thing. My first clue about this was when they told me it would take 5 years to do it. Given that our core group had been processing our past 3 initiations in 6 months each, I knew this must be a big thing. The second major clue came when our core group received upon persistent questioning the understanding of the 330 cosmic chakras. To put this in perspective, what we were basically asking for in installing and activating these bodies is the installation and activation of our first 200 chakras. In the next 5 years we are looking at having to install and activate another 150 chakras that correlate with these solar, galactic and universal bodies. Now I think you will agree with me that this is awesome. I never even dreamed it would be possible to do such a thing, let alone in 5 years. Now I am not one to count my chickens before they hatch, and a lot can happen in 5 years, but just the potentiality is staggering to me. So as you, my reader, can see, it is truly possible to begin working on one's cosmic ascension on Earth. Melchizedek told us that it is in anchoring, activating and actualizing the universal, or 12th, body that teleportation is possible. Another requirement to be able to do this, Melchizedek told us, is that one must clearly demonstrate an ability to get out of her negative ego, or he will not be allowed to go beyond planetary ascension. He also told us that one must also demonstrate to the masters a total commitment to service as her main purpose and goal. The basic attitude of our core group has been to pray for this and now completely surrender this process into Melchizedek's hands. He has stated to us what the timetable is, and he has literally forbidden me to even ask about it for at least another year. You have to realize that it has taken me this whole lifetime to anchor and activate my 50 chakras, and in truth it has taken me 250 lifetimes. We will be doing the next 50 chakras in the solar grid in a little more than a year and a half. This is equivalent to processing 7 full initiations, even though we are not allowed to take these initiations on Earth. We are then also talking about doing another 50 chakras for the galactic system and then another 50 for the universal system. The actual taking of the initiations that correspond to these levels will of course be much more time-consuming. I was told that I would probably spend 150 years working in a leadership position in Dwal Kul's ashram and then another 1,000 years in the Great White Lodge on Sirius. I honestly believe that the cosmic ascension work we are now doing is going to greatly speed up our cosmic evolution. I really do feel that we are starting to get an intuitive sense of how the process works in the very simplest cosmic sketch of an intuitive sense of how the process works in the very simplest cosmic sketch of the process. It is also important to enjoy the process and not try to rush it. I am very much looking forward to working in Dwal Kul's ashram and to my future work in the Great White Lodge. It is like going to college and taking classes you love and helping millions of people whom you love. What I am beginning to see now is that once you tap into the Ascended Masters and are working with them, at this level you are in a sense riding a wave, and all the invoking and activation work that was needed in the earlier stages is not needed as much now. At this level, the total focus is service. By becoming completely immersed in the process of service, one's personal evolutionary goals kind of take care of themselves. For example, I am writing this book as a service project for you, my beloved readers. I don't need to write this book. I already understand the material myself. I write this for you. I don't need to focus on my personal evolutionary process, for my service work is pretty much my personal evolutionary process. Writing this book is the ultimate meditation for me, and I am having to run all the energies through my 12-body system to write it. The way I see the process is like staying in the Tao. Melchizedek has told us that it will take 5 years to do this. As long as the three of us stay in the Tao that has already been established through our hard work in the past, everything will just naturally progress without a lot of extra work on our part. It is like the understanding of developing good habits. From all our hard work, our core group has developed good habits. Our spiritual lifestyle doesn't take a lot of extra energy because we already have the positive habit of doing all we are supposed to do. As long as the three of us stay in the flow we are in, focusing completely on service, our personal evolutionary goals will just take care of themselves. It was important to pray and ask for these goals, but now that we have done this, it is time to let go and just be about the Father's business. To be perfectly honest, I really like this. For I have never liked having to be concerned about my own personal evolution. I finally feel I have gotten to the place where I don't have to concern myself with it anymore. Helping people as much as I can is my sadhana, spiritual practice, as Sai Baba would say. Sai Baba has also said that, hands that help are holier than lips that pray. I also want to state here that one of the reasons that we are being allowed to move to this next level is because of the Ascension buddy system, bonding and group consciousness that our core group has. I am absolutely positive, and we have been told this directly, that much of what we have experienced is because we have worked together in this cooperative venture in service of the spiritual hierarchy. I am absolutely convinced that each of us would not have been given even 1/3 of what we have received if we hadn't formed a group body as we have. The three of us together form a much greater battery and group mind than any one of ourselves on our own. Our abilities also complement one another, which creates a more whole person and service vehicle. Another reason we have been granted this dispensation is that the three of us have been given certain leadership positions in the spiritual government because of our unwavering focus and commitment to service. Because of this, we are being allowed to do certain things and receive certain things that have not been available to the earth before. In some areas we are functioning as prototypes, as others in the past have done for us. Most of the other masters have already done the things we are doing, but what is unique is that they did this work on the inner plane. What is now being done on Earth in a physical body is totally unique. In some of the work we are doing, it is paving the way for others to follow. You are receiving the benefit of an enormous amount of hours of meditation and research to achieve this more refined and clarified understanding. You, I hope, will build and expand on many of the things I am writing about here, and will pave the way for others, just as the masters above are doing for us. This is the eternal chain and link of the spiritual and cosmic hierarchies. Brother and sister helping brother and sister. On a slightly different subject, Melchizedek told us an interesting piece of information dealing with the issue of gender on the higher planes. Masters retain a feminine or masculine appearance up through all the cosmic dimensions back to their cosmic ascension. The body that is retained is usually the one in which you take your ascension. Now, given the spiritual leadership positions our core group has been given, the group body we work out of and each of our unique abilities, I do want to make it clear here that not every person who reads this book will be operating from the same timetables we are. Some will complete their initiations in 1 year, some 2 years, some 3 years. We are not competing and it is not a race. Any one of these timetables is incredibly fast. Dwal Kul just 50 years ago took 14 years to do one. Jesus took a whole lifetime to do just one. The same is true of cosmic ascension. Some might be able to do it in 5 years, some 10 years, some 15 years, some 20 years. Whatever it is incredibly fast and in truth has almost never been done before in the 3.1 billion year history of the Earth. As prototypes in this area, I am giving you some timetables and potentialities of a general nature with which to work. When you reach these levels, do Huna prayers as I have outlined in Beyond Ascension and pray for these things. Use your intuition to request certain timetables for achieving these goals. Be realistic, and know that having these short-term goals for yourself can be extremely helpful. Also, telling your own mighty I Am presence and ascended masters your personal goals is extremely important. What happens is that you are then placed in a group wave, so to speak. All those working at your level of evolution on the planet who have similar goals, be they conscious or unconscious, will be moved forward at the same speed. Your job is to remain in the Tao of the wave you are on. Some lose their focus, self-mastery, self-discipline and commitment and therefore lose the opportunity to be part of a more advanced wave. There are infinite numbers of waves and everyone will eventually be on one of them. God's plan won't be complete until all souls return back to Source. The idea, as stated in A Course in Miracles, is to shorten the need for time. Time is a temporary concept that is being used for a temporary period of time to complete a certain phase of God's divine plan. When it has served its purpose, it will exist no more. Let us all work together as one massive group body and shorten the need for time and return home together. We will not return home without giving our hand in service and love to our brothers and sisters. One last very important point I need to mention again is that in installing and activating the solar, galactic and universal bodies, we on this planet are actually only tapping into a small portion of their true power and realization. We might be tapping into only as much as 5% of their true power and magnitude. This is because we are doing this work from the consciousness of being 7th level initiates. As I told you before, we are not allowed to go beyond this level of initiation while still in a physical body. When we take our 20th or 30th initiation, we will begin tapping into our solar, galactic and universal body's full power. Even tapping into just 5% of the full power of these bodies will be an enormous amount from the perspective of an Earthling and from the concept of planetary mastery. For example, it will be enough to physically teleport and will greatly add to one's light quotient, overall spiritual radar system and spiritual battery and voltage. As Sai Baba has said, we are all like light bulbs. Some are 50 watts, some 75, some 100, some 150, some 200. Sai Baba is a 1000 watt light bulb. We are all in the process of raising our spiritual wattage. I think you can see why the masters are very discerning about who is allowed to move into these more cosmic levels and wattages. What if a person moves into these cosmic levels and is not clear of anger? She might be able to literally kill someone with the anger, with this level of wattage in his 4-body system. Do you see that Earth is a school to practice with lesser wattage? As we master our lessons here and prove ourselves worthy at each stage, we are given more wattage with which to work. There are some people going around the planet thinking that they are operating at the 352D level of the Godhead. That is nothing but illusion and a massive ego trip. They are probably not even planetary masters. No one from the 352D level of the Godhead would be living on Earth. This is a fact. Sai Baba is the highest being on the planet and he is only 30% there. There has never been a being of his magnitude incarnated on the planet before. So again I say that these cosmic levels are available, but only if you are deserving of receiving them. The completion of planetary ascension is not as strict. All can achieve these levels. Cosmic Ascension activations will only be granted if the spiritual voltages will not be misused and if you have proven yourself worthy over time to use your energies properly under all tests and in the face of great obstacles. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to have a fundamental mastery over all aspects of your being in total service of love, God and humanity. More advanced cosmic bodies in the ascension process. There are also cosmic bodies that go beyond the solar, galactic and universal bodies that can be anchored and activated in your meditations. Some of the ones I mention here will be overlapping somewhat. The first, most easy way to understand the cosmic bodies that extend all the way back to the Godhead are to consider the 7 cosmic planes. Just as we had 7 planetary bodies that correlated with the 7 subplanes of the cosmic physical plane, we also have 7 cosmic bodies that correlate with the 7 cosmic planes. These bodies can be called into your meditations upon completion of your 7 levels of initiation, which will be triggers for the release of certain cosmic energies. I see many of these cosmic bodies and chakras functioning as keys that unlock certain cosmic energies. Some of the higher bodies in this list I am sure are probably not realistically available to us on Earth in any major way. Even if installation and activation doesn't occur, a certain type of overlighting and energy release might occur. Cosmic bodies and the keys of Enoch. One other way of tapping into the cosmic and planetary bodies is to use the system of understanding brought forth by J.J. Hurtak in the Book of Knowledge, The Keys of Enoch. This is a most amazing book and has a certain Jewish, or more succinctly, Kabbalistic theme to it. In The Keys of Enoch, Hurtak describes a series of 12 bodies as follows. 1. Lord's mystical body. 2. Elohistic Lord's body. 3. Paradise Son's body. 4. Order of the Sonship body. 5. Anointed Christ Overself body. 6. Zohar body. 7. Overself body. 8. Electromagnetic body. 9. Eka body or time travel body, time controller. 10. Epikinetic body or Merkaba teleportation body, spatial controller. 11. Gematrian body. 12. Higher Adam Kadmon body. Some of the bodies I have listed here are dealing with the planetary body system and the ones on top, on a more cosmic level. Melchizedek has told us that the Lord's mystical body is the highest and most advanced body. It is literally the body of the 352D level of the Godhead. The Elohistic Lord's body is the body of our Elohim self, or Creator, God self. The Paradise Son's body is the body of our Paradise Son self. We are recognizing here that we are multidimensional selves that have other aspects of our being already functioning on these higher levels. This is not hard to understand. We are already dealing with this in the planetary understanding that we have a higher self and monad, or mighty I Am presence, functioning at a higher level. The same is true on the cosmic level. It is possible to call forth in meditation to anchor and activate these bodies in dealing with the cosmic ascension process. Moving down the list we come to the order of the sonship body. This is another level within the cosmic dimensions that can be invoked. According to Melchizedek, the highest body within the planetary bodies is the anointed Christ Overself body. This body functions as a trinity with the Zohar body and the Overself body. I have described these bodies in Beyond Ascension, so I will not repeat that information here. The electromagnetic body deals with our whole electromagnetic field that is activated in the process of planetary ascension. The Eka body and epikinetic body deal with time travel and teleportation. The Gematrian body stores all the geometric bodies that program our whole program. I often call in these geometric codes for whatever it is I am trying to manifest. For example, if I want more energy I might call in the geometric codes to energize the etheric body and meridian system. I have called in the geometric codes from Melchizedek to live on light and for physical immortality. These codes facilitate the movement toward realizing these goals. The last body is the higher Adam Kadmon, which is like the divine blueprint body. It replaces the old etheric blueprint that has been used from all your past lives. Not everybody realizes that the etheric body can be damaged from your past lives or from your experience in this lifetime. It is a good idea to request that it be repaired and replaced with the higher Adam Kadmon body, or divine blueprint body. This works very closely with the Mayavarupa body, which is another divine blueprint body that can be used in the Ascension process. These Keys of Enoch bodies are another system to work with, which I happen to like very much. A multi-universal body could also be added to the system of the solar, galactic and universal, which is the body used for exploring the 43 Christed universes for this cosmic day. Finally, call in the cosmic body. In essence, what I have given you here is 3 different systems to work with that are all overlapping. I personally use them all to make sure everything is covered. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. These bodies I have mentioned are listed on the cosmic map at the beginning of the book, as is all the information I have discussed in this chapter. The cosmic map is a good tool for synthesizing this information. The 12 strands of DNA and the Ascension process. The 12 strands of DNA can be installed and activated within the etheric body early on in the planetary ascension process. It is just a matter of invoking them and asking your own mighty I Am presence, soul and the ascended masters to help you do this. They will be happy to oblige for the asking. The key point here with all these things is that you must ask. Part of the reason I have gotten to where I am is that I am not afraid to ask questions and I am not afraid to invoke and pray for what I want. I am also not afraid to make mistakes and sometimes ask some rather dumb questions in the process of trying to find truth. The masters have been very patient with me and over time have begun to greatly respect my investigative abilities. My goal is always to make all this abstract material easy to understand for people, and by the grace of God I feel that I have achieved this goal. Anyway, let's get back to the 12 strands of DNA, which is quite a popular focus among lightworkers right now. The process begins, contrary to popular belief, in the etheric body. The first step is to get the 12 strands manifested there. The next phase is to work toward transferring them from the etheric body into the physical body. Dwal Kul and Melchizedek told us this won't be complete until one fully anchors and activates all 12 levels, or 12 bodies, or up through the 12th dimension. Our core group is currently working on this process and is a natural byproduct and result of all the other things I have been speaking of in this chapter. This is something that can occasionally be invoked and prayed for in your meditations. After a while, as you can see, all these facets of initiations, chakras, bodies, 12 strands of DNA, light quotient, monadic and soul anchorings, weave and come together. The achievement of one catalyzes and facilitates the achievements of the others. Each one of these things is like a window for looking at the planetary and cosmic ascension process. Taken all together, you get a more full picture and multifaceted approach to how the planetary and cosmic ascension process is achieved. Cosmic Light Quotient Building Scale. As I have already stated, 99% on the planetary light quotient building scale equals 10% on the cosmic light quotient scale. To install, activate and actualize the solar level 1 must build his/her light quotient to the 20% level. To install, activate and actualize the galactic level 1 must build her light quotient to the 30% level. At the universal level 1 must build up her light quotient to 40% and at the multi-universal level 1 must build her light quotient to the 60% level. This information that Melchizedek has provided must be put in the context of those who are still in physical incarnation. This is because Melchizedek told us just today that we are accessing only 10% of the full voltage of the solar, galactic and universal levels, even though we are fully completed 7th degree initiates. Sai Baba is still doing the same process at a much higher level of initiation, as are many, many masters on the inner plane. The numbers I have given are valid for just about every one of the 6 billion people on Earth except for Sai Baba and Lord Maitreya. This also might apply to a few others who have incarnated as a part of the externalization of the hierarchy and are senior members of Lord Maitreya's ashram. Other than these few exceptions, these are very accurate numbers, which in summation are 10% light quotient for planetary activation, 20% light quotient for solar activation, 30% light quotient for galactic activation, 40% light quotient for universal activation, 60% for multi-universal activation, 100% source activation while still in earthly incarnation. We will move to a new scale again when we are out of incarnation and can take the initiations that go along with those activations. So looking at this logically, we have the potential on Earth to activate 10% of full source energy while still a 7th degree initiate. Said in another way, we have the potential here to activate 10% on Earth of our full cosmic ascension. The work we are doing here is laying the foundation for moving through our cosmic initiations more quickly. For the time being we are stuck at the completion of the 7th no matter what, as long as we are still in physical incarnation. Upon passing over to the inner plane we will most probably immediately take our 8th initiation. How to make progress on your cosmic ascension? The first thing one must do, of course, is complete one's planetary ascension and 7 levels of initiation. The keys to completing both processes are unconditional love, service and meditation. Meditation includes around-the-clock light quotient building and spending a lot of time in the various ascension seats as will be described in the next chapter. The idea here is to make your life a continual meditation, besides the actual precise meditations you do. I would intensively study my 8 books and especially focus on the meditations in the Complete Ascension Manual and Beyond Ascension. I also have 5 Ascension activation tapes that can be acquired through contacting me directly. They can be bought as a set or individually, which literally covers the gamut. I would also recommend that you come to the major planetary event that I have committed to putting on each year at Wesak, on the full moon in May. This is something I have contracted to do with Lord Maitreya, Melchizedek and Dwal Kul. The event each year is for the purpose of celebrating the Wesak festival, Buddha's birthday. The numbers of people coming range anywhere from 1,200 to 5,000. Can you imagine doing high-level world service work with 1,200 high-level initiates and ascended beings? Can you imagine doing the meditations I have recommended in my books and tapes with this type of group? I coordinate and participate in this event each year. The spiritual benefits one gains from participating in this weekend celebration and activation is literally 1,000 times more powerful than any meditation one could do by herself. There is a miraculous exponential factor that occurs when this many masters gather in oneness, love and group consciousness. We all need each other and no one is an island unto herself. These gatherings and celebrations are truly a coming together of spiritual family. The fact that we hold the festivals at Wesak, the holiest day of the year from the Ascended Masters' perspectives, during the full moon, which coincides with many people's initiations, makes the event 1,000 times more powerful. The festivals are held every year, pretty much indefinitely until I am guided to leave this plane. Later in this book I will give more information about Wesak and the 12 planetary festivals. The fact that we hold the event in Mount Shasta, California, also has an extraordinary impact, as well as the fact that we are moving through the planetary window for mass ascension from 1995 through 2012. Note by Anada Amara. For any that don't know, Master Joshua has left his physical vehicle and is currently the Kohan of the Second Ray of Light, a post previously held by Lord Kuthumi. When he speaks of the mass ascension from 1995 to 2012 of which he indeed was a part, This is to highlight what I've been saying, that the ascension process is underway and several advanced waves have already boarded that train. These events are designed to be the major planetary events to activate the next set of mass ascension waves and to help those who have taken them already to actualize their ascension. Consider yourself now officially invited. I guarantee that it will be one of the most powerful experiences of your entire life. You will have the experience of working in a group body, not just your own individual focus. During the entire weekend, the whole group functions like a gigantic tuning fork for cosmic transmissions of energy. Nothing you will ever do will catapult your spiritual progression forward as fast as attending a celebration such as this. What you experience will reverberate through your being for months afterward, if not for the whole year. The Wesak was designed by the Ascended Masters to be a time of renewal and a time for the spiritual family to take a break from its normal service work to come together to rejuvenate, regenerate and commune with fellow initiates and ascended beings, on both the inner and outer plane. I have taken on the mantle of responsibility to help lightworkers around the globe remember this sacred festival and to celebrate it as the Ascended Masters do every year on the inner plane. It is time for the complete externalization of the spiritual hierarchy on all levels, and this is one extremely important aspect of this process that is now taking place. Could you imagine doing high-level world service work like this with 5,000 dedicated initiates and ascended beings? Melchizedek has told us that this is in the cards and not too far away, so let all your friends know about it, as well as the books. Melchizedek has told me that the books are the key to the whole process. The books will lay the foundation and do all the advertising, and these events will be the group experience of what is possible that will further the work of the planetary and cosmic hierarchy, which we are all representatives of on Earth. The last essential process that comes to mind is the importance of prayer. In my book Beyond Ascension, I have provided a very useful tool called the Huna prayer method, which I would highly recommend that you utilize. However, any kind of prayer will work. The Ascended Masters are not allowed to intervene in your life unless they receive a request. Let them know what your spiritual short-term and long-term goals are. Give them your timetable preferences or request your highest potentialities in this regard. Probably the biggest reason I have made the progress that I have in my own spiritual evolution is that I have prayed and questioned and called for help constantly. As long as you are responsible in your life and practice that which you preach, the Ascended Masters are happy to oblige your every request if it is within your potentiality and the range of your personal Tao. Pray, meditate constantly, even while watching TV, walking or doing errands. Express unconditional love at all times. Use moderation and balance in all things and practice holy encounter at all times. Holy encounter means God meeting God with every person, animal, plant or rock you meet. Building the light quotient as a main focus. Studying books, utilizing ascension seats, and most of all dedicating your life to service of humanity and the earth. This is the planetary and cosmic ascension ticket. Instructions for utilizing the planetary and cosmic ascension seats. One of the most important tools a person can utilize in the process of achieving and completing her ascension and eventually moving on to his cosmic ascension is the use of the ascension seats. I first introduced this tool in my book, The Complete Ascension Manual, and then greatly added to the list in Beyond Ascension. In this book I have added to the list again. The following is my newest and most up-to-date list, which I have called the Cosmic Ladder of Ascension Seats. I have broken down the ascension seats into those on the cosmic level, those on the multi-universal level, those on the universal, then galactic, solar and planetary levels. Ascension seats. 1. Cosmic level. Godhead. Ascension seat. Under guidance of Melchizedek. Only permissible after completing the 7 levels of initiation and working with the multi-universal ascension seat for 2 years' time. Divine Mother and Divine Father ascension seat. 2. Multi-universal level, 43 universes from the source of our cosmic day. Many universes ascension seat. In the great central sun under guidance of Melchizedek. Only permissible after completing 7 levels of initiation. 3. Universal level. Golden chamber of Melchizedek under auspices of Melchizedek. 4. Galactic level. Great White Lodge ascension seat under guidance of the Lord of Sirius. Arcturian ascension seat under guidance of the Lord of Arcturus. Lenduch's ascension seat under guidance of Lendus. Melchior's ascension seat in galactic core under guidance of Melchior. Lord of Pleiades ascension seat on the Pleiades. 5. Solar ascension seats. Golden chamber of Helios in solar core ascension seat. Shambhala ascension seat under guidance of Sanat Kumara and Lord Buddha. 6. Planetary ascension seats. Serapis Bey's ascension seat in Luxor on the inner plane. Inner plane atomic accelerator ascension seat in Table Mountain. Ascension seat in Telos, 1 mile below Mount Shasta on inner plane. Mount Shasta ascension seat inside mountain on surface of the planet. Shambhala ascension seat in center of the earth. Great Pyramid of Giza, King's Chamber ascension seat. Sananda's ascension seat on his own spacecraft. Ascension seat on Venus under guidance of planetary logos of Venus. Melchizedek gave us the following instructions as to the ascension seat's proper use. 1 should begin by focusing on planetary ascension. This applies to all initiates up through the beginning of the 5th initiation. One must understand that these ascension seats are very powerful. Your initiation really has to do with the level of spiritual voltage you are holding and stabilizing. One needs to pattern into the ascension seats when first using them anyway, and then one needs to deeply consider that more voltage is not necessarily better. There are many souls in the history of the earth who have died prematurely or damaged their physical, astral, mental or spiritual webbing from calling in too much energy before their nervous system and metaphysical bodies were able to handle it. There is no danger as long as you follow the instructions I am giving you. I am not making up these rules arbitrarily but was told this directly by Melchizedek, the universal logos. So please listen very clearly, especially to what I say about the cosmic ascension seats. Begin with the planetary ascension seats. They are wonderful. It is important for your training that you work with them all. You will find certain ones to be your favorites. Follow your intuition. The most important planetary ascension seat to achieve your ascension is the one in Luxor. Every disciple and initiate on planet Earth who is going to achieve her ascension must spend time in Luxor on the inner plane with Serapis Bey. He holds the planetary ascension, flame, so to speak. The second most important ascension seat is in Mount Shasta, which is on the surface of the earth and inside the mountain. This is what Melchizedek said, and interestingly enough this was my personal experience. I worked a lot in the other ones however and enjoyed them all. If you want a little more energy, it is permissible to call on the master in charge to increase the voltage a little bit. Spend as much time as you can in these ascension seats. As I mentioned in Beyond Ascension, this can be done not only in meditation but also while watching television, walking, doing errands. Your spiritual self will bilocate there and you can in a sense be doing 2 things at once. The idea here is to make your life a meditation, because who has the time or desire to meditate all day? I literally spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week meditating as I am living my life. If I am not in one of the ascension seats, I am doing light quotient building, and this is the single most important reason why I have processed my initiation so quickly. Try it, for it is fun. The wide variety of ascension seats makes it less boring and monotonous. Again, your first experience in the ascension seats should be at the planetary level. Once your nervous system and bodies get adjusted, those of you in the 3rd initiation and above can also begin using the solar level ascension seats. Most people reading this book are at this level. You wouldn't be attracted to it if you weren't. Just prior to taking the 4th initiation, you can also begin using the Galactic Ascension seats, except for the Great White Lodge Ascension seat under guidance of the Lord of Sirius. This gives almost everybody reading this book an extremely wide choice of Ascension seats, which took me many years to research and uncover. The Ascension seat on the Great White Lodge can be used as soon as you take your 5th initiation. If you don't know your initiation level, use your intuition at first. Some people can use a pendulum to find out. If you need further assistance, give me a call and I will help you get this information. This also applies to the issue of removing your alien implants and elementals if you haven't had them cleared. I personally love these Ascension seats. You can use them even when you are talking to friends on the phone. You can socialize and sit in the Ascension seats simultaneously. If you ever sense the flow of spiritual current stopping, just call yourself back there again. The key here is the efficient use of your time and energy. The Universal Level Ascension seat, called the Golden Chamber of Melchizedek, can also be used after you take your 5th initiation. Most of the people reading this book are much further along in your initiation process than you realize. I am privy to the initiation level of a great many people, and I am here to tell you that just about every person I meet is in the 4th, 5th or 6th initiation. Completing these initiations is actually becoming commonplace these days for lightworkers. For those very dedicated lightworkers, you can figure 2 years for an initiation if you apply the information and meditations in my books. That is mind-bogglingly fast. Those who really focus and apply themselves might be able to do them even faster. It is all up to your commitment. In actuality, for most people reading this book, you have almost free access to all the Ascension seats. The only exceptions to this rule are the 2 Ascension seats on the multi-universal level and cosmic level. The multi-universal level is the level of the 43 Christed universes of the source of our cosmic day. This is an Ascension seat you are only allowed to enter after you have fully completed your 7 levels of initiation. These are direct orders from Melchizedek. He told us that there is an Ascension seat above this that exists literally at the 352D level of the Godhead. However, at this point even the core group and I are not allowed to go there, even though we have completed all 7 levels of initiation and 50 chakras, are working on our 10th body, or solar body activation, and have stabilized our 99% light quotient. Melchizedek told us that this Ascension seat could burn our etheric webbing and nervous system in a flash. He said if we were ever to be allowed to use it in the future, it would have to be as a group body, which holds more spiritual voltage potential than our individual 12 body systems do. It is very important to follow these instructions. The masters don't take kindly to immature disciples trying to enter states of consciousness they don't belong in. There is a natural orderly process to spiritual growth, and to try and skip levels is just a manifestation of negative ego that will karmically backfire on you if you try. Being able to work as a 5th degree initiate at galactic and universal levels is an enormous leap in and of itself. The galactic core just opened up in 1987 during the harmonic convergence. In the use of the Golden Chamber of Melchizedek, you are being given direct access to the universal core. I feel the responsibility to share the entire picture, which will serve as a cosmic carrot of sorts for something to which you can look forward. After taking your ascension, you can begin to call in the energies of the 5 Christed universes, then the 12 Christed universes, then the 43 Christed universes. You will not be going to the Ascension seat there, for that is not permissible until completion of the 7th initiation. However, you can begin to call the energies in during your actual meditations. So as you can see, I am on your side. All the information that I am giving you here, in the next chapter on the cosmic rays and in Beyond Ascension, will take you many years to integrate. The Source or Godhead Ascension seat is only available after you have worked with the multi-universal level Ascension seat for 2 full years to prepare your nervous system. This is 2 full years after you have completed your 7 levels of initiation and 99% light quotient and anchored and activated 9 bodies and all 50 chakras. There are 2 more very profound ascension seats that the Divine Mother and Divine Father, who stand in essence on the right and left hand of God, have allowed me to bring forth in this book. These are the Divine Mother Ascension Seat and the Divine Father Ascension Seat. To be allowed to use these ascension seats, you must at least be at the beginning of your 6th initiation. If you don't know your level of initiation, call me and I will set you up with a telephone reading to give you this information. Even if you are a 6th degree initiate or higher, you also must make the following request, since this is such a high voltage. I call forth only those energies that I can assimilate easily and comfortably at the level 1 I'm currently at while sitting in this Divine Mother, Father, Ascension Seat. The Synthesis Ashram of Dwal Kul. There is one more type of seat that is not an ascension seat but more aptly called a healing seat. Dwal Kul has taken over Kuthumi's inner plane ashram because Kuthumi is preparing to take over Lord Maitreya's position in the spiritual government as planetary Christ in the not-too-distant future. The second ray has to do with the spiritual education of the planet, and because of this focus it is the central pillar of the 7 rays. So all souls regardless of ray type will spend some time working with Dwal Kul on the inner plane. It must be realized that there is a great movement of disciples and initiates from ashram to ashram on the inner plane depending on their individual needs. All 7 of the main ashrams under the guidance of the 7 Kohans are really in truth one ashram of Lord Maitreya, the planetary Christ. Anyway, Dwal Kul has a healing seat in the Synthesis Ashram in which I highly recommend spending time. Call on Dwal Kul and he will work with you there. This seat will give you access to everything I have written about in all my books, whether it is light quotient building, implant removal, Arcturian technologies and so on. It is kind of a jack of all trades, healing seat.